Hello everybody, Christian from Treasure Town here, and I'm back with another Guess the Grade. We've got probably, I don't know, I didn't quite count, but 17 or so coins, 16 that we're going to be looking through, and the format will be, I will first show you the coin like this on the reverse, maybe make some comments. I generally grade poorly on these videos. I always feel like I grade worse on camera than I do in person, but say I thought this might be like a 4, maybe a 6, but I think it's going to be a good 4. Then I'll show this around, and it ends up being an AG3. So I was a little bit off about good, but then I'll make some comments like, hey, you know, the rims are super weak or almost fully gone on this one, and there's a little bit of a hit, and then I'll move on to the next coin. So it'll be good grading practice for you to understand sort of a lot of these coins. I took a quick sneak peek, are more in the mid-range of grades, which I often do pretty poorly on. The first few are going to be, I think, a little bit more worn, but then we've got some nice stuff going forward. So we'll just get started with this one, show it off. You know, on this, the big question is this going to be poor 1, or is it going to be in the poor sort of 2? I think it's poor 2, or maybe it's fair 2. I think it's FRO2 is the official abbreviation. There's a little scratch. I don't think that this is going to be a details coin. I'm just going to boldly say this is going to be a poor 1, just because it is so worn, you know, fully into even the seated design, and even in the date, but it's still legible, and it's going to be a poor 1. So that is awesome. I don't know exactly, you know, people always are trying to get low ball sets, try to get poor 1s of an IKE Dollar that's been, you know, some people are trying to artificially wear them down, and if you have one that's been in a pocket for 30 years, well, maybe that's a valuable coin. So anyways, poor 1, really happy that I got it right, because like I said a few moments ago, I generally grade very poorly, but I'm sure I'll have an opportunity to do that today. Here's a 1957 D. I'm a little bit unsure why this has been graded. I think that there are definitely some varieties to look for, but I don't think that they're done by PCGS. And to me, you know, this looks brown. There's either brown, or red, of course. I would call this like a Mint State 64 brown, but 63 brown. So not totally clear why it's been graded. It looks like it even has a you know, a photo on it. So PCGS photo grade. Good example of what a Mint State 63 brown is, and probably was not worth sending in. But this one, a little bit older, $quarter, 1856, nice seated design. And we had a little sound interruption, but on the front of the coin here, you know, again, I'm trying to see, you know, how much wear is this? What's the degree of wear on it? And like I said, I'm trying to see it because I generally don't do great. My guess, I'm going to say that this one is in the range of like a VF20, but maybe it's lower, maybe it's higher. And it is lower, fine 12. That makes sense. I mean, there's a fair amount of wear, and I am, again, not that good at discriminating between the different sort of mid to lower end grades. That's why I think it's so helpful to have a video like this, where you have a mix, but some of those in that sort of mid-range spot. Same thing, this Indian head cent looks like a copper nickel 1860. So certainly a little bit more worn, no Liberty. Maybe you can make out the L a tiny bit. But I feel like it's probably going to be also in that fine range. I mean, maybe it's lower, but I feel like the rim is pretty intact. You can see it's more worn on this side. I'm going to call this a fine 15, and it's fine 12. So was sort of in the right range, my estimate, but could take a quick look, sort of compare similar degrees of wear on these two coins. But different designs, different metal compositions. Next one, a Mercury Dime. This one's in nicer shape, and you do want to check for the full bands. I'm going to say that that is full bands on a quick glance. So nice reverse of the coin. We'll see the front, and there's really not too much outside of like a little scratch in front. I would probably at first glance call it 65 full bands, but I'm going to say 66 full bands just because the luster is really nice, and it is 66 full bands. So generally I have a propensity to undergrade this sort of stuff. So happy that I got that one right, because, and that probably makes sense. Two for 6 is normally better than I do. So this one similar. I don't think. Well, let's zoom in, and it's always tough to fully see, but I don't think that these are fully split bands because there's not like the deep rivet all the way through. There's also a little bit of a mark, tiny, like I think that's just toning though. We'll see what the, and I hope you couldn't see it. I didn't see it. Front looks like. I would probably call this, because there's a few spots over there, I don't think it would really be worth grading, but I would say maybe like a 60, 65, and maybe it's a 64, but I would say 65. And it's 66 again. Whoa, so interesting. My eye clearly is not great, but I feel like the one on the left is actually a lot more attractive than the one on the right, just because of like the little, it's not discoloration, but a few little like milk spots, or probably not milk spots. Maybe I'm making bad commentary. Our next one though, nice proof Roosevelt Dime. 1963, it's got the little bit of blue haze, little dot in the corner. I'm going to call this a proof 65, though it might be a 64. What's going to be my final? I'm gonna go with 65, and it's 65, but I didn't say cameo, and I'm a little bit surprised by that. But maybe the toning is sort of making it a little less obvious for me to designate it as being a cameo. I think the toning's cool, and that's going to refer to the contrast between like Roosevelt's head and the fields. So another miss for me on a designation. Here we've got a nice Franklin $50 proof coin, really nice separation in terms of that cameo contrast between the bell and the fields. I don't think the front quite qualifies it for deep cameo, but the coin is really nice. I would call it a 68, just to be loose. It's probably going to be 67 cameo, but yeah, 67 cameo. There you go. So the value on this, I don't think is super high, maybe in the $120 range. I don't exactly know, but our next one's going to be an IKE Dollar. These are useful because it's surprising. IKE Dollars often weren't like struck the best, or it would be tough to find them in really high grades, and you can actually make some nice money. I've seen people who can grade them really well on moderns. I was at the Baltimore show with David Lawrence. They had like I think it was a bicentennial, and I want to say it was 67, but it was like a 67 CAC, and maybe it was higher grade. Anyways, the asking price was like $10,000. So nice coin here. I don't think this one's $10,000, but I'm going to say 65 on it. Maybe it's a 60. There's a hit over there, and maybe it's lower. I could see it being 66, but I'm going to say 65, and it is the 65. So happy that I got that right. Type 2, type 1, I should know that better. I think that it refers to the style of like letters, if it's like thinner or thicker letters. But anyways, bicentennial Ike, 65. And if it was 1 or 2 grades higher, I bet it would be a little bit more valuable. This one, another sort of mid-circulated grade, seated dime, 1857-0. I'm going to call this a VF20 pretty quickly, but I could be very off. We'll see what happens. And it's VF30. So, yeah, shows, do I always get it right? No, but at least I was in the right grade range. And this is nicer than sort of that Indian head cent. And the other, I think it was another seeded coin that we saw. This one, and I was warned by I may have forgotten to mention, these were Scott's coins that we had met at an A&A summer seminar, the last one that was on. And then we met up again at the Westchester Coin Club, Westchester County, which was actually instrumental in the New Rochelle, I want to say it was 36, but maybe 1938. I think it was a tercentenary, $50. Maybe it's not tercentenary. I don't exactly know, but they were a instrumental coin club, and I saw him there. He had mentioned that this is a VAM, so you can see right there the spitting eagle. I think it's unattributed. It's also Carson City Morgan dollar, so the back looks really nice. I see a CAC green bean on it, and maybe that will influence my decision. On the front, there is a fair amount of chatter in the face, and then also a little bit of a line to the right. So I was going to say either 64 or 63. Given that it's CAC, that's going to bias me. I'm going to call it a 63. And it's 62, so I was even wrong there. But yeah, it's a VAM3 spitting eagle. So you can, again, see that there's all sorts of different little varieties that a lot of people forget or miss or don't attribute. And that's going to be one of them, sort of an example. I've seen that happen where people just know the VAMs really well. They can go through dealer bins of Morgans and pick out the ones that are unattributed and might be either a little bit more valuable or a lot more valuable. And this is a nice example of that. But a fair amount of hits. Anyways, it's a 62 VAM3. Came with the green bean. It's a nice coin. Here we've got Seated Liberty. This one's certainly seen some wear, but then I'm wondering, hey, is there a little bit of like luster left? Then the front of the coin, oh man, I think I'm going to come up with a really bad grade on this. Way off. I'll go with VF30 sort of to hedge my bets in either direction, but I could see it being higher or lower. Maybe it's, I don't know. VF the 25. Okay, I'm like breathing a sigh of relief. Sort of a good reminder. This is sort of like that mid-range. A lot of these come super worn. The dates were really prone to, fully wearing off. And, this is a nice coin. I think it looks good. There's not really luster, but at the same time, there's a nice bit of detail left. Good coin for like a starting collector. And then, let's see. This one is, and it's got the rays. I assume that they stopped striking them with rays because it probably made the dies wear down super quickly when they were striking coins. Looks like 1859, super worn. It's not going to be pour one. I would probably debate between. I don't think it's 2 either. I would say my guess is that this is a 3, but maybe it's a 2. I'm going to say 3, and it's a 2. So arrows and rays, FR again. I think that's fair too. Would make sense. And then we've got 2 more to go. So this one, Staying Liberty quarter. I think one interesting thing that I'm going to do. Well, first I'll try to give it. I think that it's 1918. You want to look for the 18 over 17. But I can't tell if just like this being more raised makes it more worn. I think it's more worn than the previous coin by a little bit, and you can see that definitely like in the sort of midsection of Liberty, you can see and a lot more stars in this design. So I'm going to go with this being like a fine 15, and it's good 6. Whoa, so I was way off, so I'm disappointed. I thought I would escape making an embarrassingly bad grade, but I managed to do it on this one. This one's, I guess, good 6. Yeah, so I mean, I was thinking maybe this date seems a little bit more raised and is more prone to wear, but certainly, I guess, a lot more wear. Shows me I'm learning along with you, and I always enjoy that. Like, I'm do some dealing, but also a collector at heart, so can learn with you. And last one here, it's going to be a Lincoln Cent. This one looks pretty worn, but it's always tough. Like mid-grade Lincoln Cents, something going to be XF or VF. I'm going to maybe not make a bad prediction. I'm going to say XF 40 on this, but I could also see it. Maybe I'll say VF 35, and it's VF 25, so a little bit lower than I had expected. But yeah, there's not much luster. It's always a tougher area for me, but this one I would say is an attractive coin, and that's something that's important when you're purchasing them. You don't want to buy problem coins. You don't want to buy coins that have clear damage, something that's worn, but it's like worn evenly, nicely, and still has a nice color like this coin. I think that that's the sort of one that you want to target if this is in your price range. The other piece of advice I always say is buy coins, buy fewer, nicer coins. And so instead of buying, a bunch of Lincoln Cents to complete your date set that all have holes in them, try to get something maybe like this and go a little bit slower in terms of completing that. Or if you can wait even longer, try to get something like this in, say, nice AU that has really nice eye appeal, but tons of cool coins to go through. Hope that this video was helpful. If you like this style of video, please let me know in the comments and tell me how you did as well, or if I can make these types of vids any better. So looking forward to seeing you on some future videos, and thanks again for supporting the channel. Plus, a thank you to Scott as well. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated. I've also got Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so you can follow me there. TreasureTownYT.com is the main channel website. Definitely give that a visit. I've got a lot of information about me up there and the channel. CoinGrabBag.com as well currently redirects there, but it's some good opportunities for very fair grab bags, both made by me and other sellers. A lot of different options, so that's a good way to support. There's also TreasureTownCoins.com. In the future, my coin dealing operation will be done out of that website. CoinMeltPrice.com for updates on the melt prices of your coins, both US and world. A lot of resources in that website. And then CoinsMetalsCards.com being developed right now as a marketplace and news source for coins, metals, cards, and collectibles in general. So I'll see you on my future videos. Looking forward to seeing you there, and hope you have a good day.